computer's cold. I mean, so there were multiple reasons I wanted to have you on, to be honest with you.
Okay.
Like I've known this for a while because like we've done about 35 episodes, and you know some people I've kind of saved. You were kind of one of them. So just to kind of lay the land, you work with the UFC, which is very new to China, right?
Yes.
But they are heavily investing into China. And for me, this is interesting because I'm not like a UFC guy. Like I'm not into MMA at all. I am more and more curious about Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Right.
But from, you know, MMA, I'm still very far off. I've never done combat sports. I've
Right,
been
right,
more
right.
like traditional sports. And I would say within the UFC, I've only kind of watched maybe some of the Conor or Khabib fights.
Right.
That's about it.
Well, me too.
Okay.
Yeah, because, for example, UFC Fit, it's the consumer fitness arm of UFC.
Okay.
So it's open to the public. It's not a combat brand. It's a
Right.
fitness gym with a strong combat DNA. So pretty much everyone can come and have a great workout, but a different concept. So we are trying to set a new standard in the fitness industry. Like, for example, we want to have like train with scientific training methodologies, and then for example we provide different fitness program. For example, like we infuse our combat skills into our fitness classes. For example, we will have boxing conditioning, so basically you will learn basic boxing skills,
Right. But it's a conditioning class.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes.
Okay.
So it will be more fun, not just like a traditional, do 3 reps of this and do this and that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think this is really interesting because when the UFC was sold for that astronomical figure, I don't know what the actual number was. Off the top of my head, it's probably, 2 billion, 3 billion, 4? It was something like that, right? I was like, where is this sport going to go? Because you have no outside of arm, outside of sports. There's no media, right? You guys did that. You have like a fighter discovery show or something like that. But
I haven't watched that, to be honest.
So, But like now that you talk about UFC Fit, this makes a lot more sense now because it sounds like what you're doing is you're trying to bridge your MMA territory ownership with broader group fitness classes.
Yeah, because think about it. As an MMA fighter, their conditioning is actually insane.
It's insane, yeah.
So I think about 11, 12 years ago, UFC decided to have this business. So 12 years ago, they have their first one. I'm not sure which part of US they have their first UFC gym.
Okay.
In China, it's registered as UFC Fit, but also overseas registered as UFC Gym.
Okay.
Now, I think globally we are in 37 countries and region.
So is this kind of like it's I don't know what a good comparison is, like a group fitness class focused on MMA?
Not really. We are a fitness brand,
Right.
but we provide like very professional combat courses.
Okay.
Yeah. So for example, our combat classes. Real combat classes only accounts for maybe 30 to 40%, but the rest of it is like fitness classes. Yeah.
Like what?
Yeah, for example, we have Zumba.
Oh.
We have TRX. We have yoga.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay, I was not
so we
expecting
have
that.
fitness classes. We have specialized conditioning class, and we have combat courses, and we have youth program. So we are a full spectrum, very broad spectrum of fitness center.
So you're a broad spectrum of fitness centers. Got it.
Yeah.
I'm really curious as to know both what the clientele is like currently, because you guys are just starting,
Right.
versus what your target clientele is.
So our first flagship right now in China is in Lujiazui, Shanghai, right?
Right.
So right now our target is actually pretty much from 4 to
However old you can handle it. Sure. Yeah.
But then, of course, our main target is the white collar working in Lujiazui area or the residents.
So in that finance hub center.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And is that who they are? Like, are you guys getting locals coming in?
Yes. But at the beginning, we get a lot of UFC hardcore fans.
Yes, of course.
Yes. We have people who just want to train combat, and we also have people who just started because they know UFC, they trust this brand, and they want to start work out with us.
Yeah.
And we also have people who pass by and don't even know who we are.
Right.
Or we have people who pass by and say, oh, this is a martial art academy. But this is the part we are trying to get rid of. We are a fitness brand. But most people, for example, they saw me. It's so interesting. Yeah. They think I look like Zhang Weili. Okay. A lot of people are like, oh, Zhang Weili, can I take a picture? So naturally, some people, their first impression is it's a comeback academy.
Got it.
Yeah, but we are actually a fitness gym. Yeah. So we have actually people who just want to do comeback. And then people who just started. Actually, we serve all. So
if all I just wanted to do was combat, I could do that.
Yes, because our coaches, they are very professional. They're not just professional in fighting. They're also professional in teaching. For example, like our comeback coaches, they've been doing this all their life. Take Saulo, for example, start at 5 years old.
Yeah.
Judo black belt and JiuJitsu black belt.
Yeah, see, this is what I like about your sport is that the credentials are non-disputable.
Yes.
Like a black belt is a black belt wherever the fuck he goes. Like in China, in Mongolia, in Russia, he's a black belt. Not all sports are like that, right? A lot of sports are much more subjective. I wanted to kind of quickly go back to just so we're clear on this, because I'm not 100%, I don't follow the sport. Zhang Weili is the Chinese woman UFC fighter, right?
Yes,
like
and
the one
she won
belt
a champion.
holder right now, I think.
Yes. I think she's the first.
That girl is
champion.
badass. Yes. I watched her last fight. It was just like the 3-minute highlight or whatever. She is.
Yes. I was there in her Shenzhen fight, the one she
Oh, it was in Shenzhen? I didn't know. Oh.
I was there, actually. I couldn't believe it. I was just like, what?
Dude, that is sick.
It finished in less than a minute.
Yeah.
She just didn't stop, keep going. Yeah. But the training aspect, it's so hard. Like, you have to have such strong mentality
of course,
to just keep it going.
Yeah. How would you describe her? How would you describe Zhang Weili as a fighter? Because I only see her as a person. I don't understand the fighting stuff at all.
Okay. I mean, I don't really watch her every fight.
Right.
I know her literally like everyone else because I saw that fight, and then I follow her on Instagram. She seems like a very determined person. She wants this and she go get it, and she trains so hard. Yeah. And then I guess she just, I think you have to be very determined. You have to have that fighting spirit in you. Yeah.
You definitely have to have that fighting spirit in you, I would say. Yeah. How many people were at that fight?
I'm not sure, to be honest.
It's pre-COVID.
It's a pretty full house.
Right.
In Shenzhen, Futian. I'm not sure which stadium, but it was.
Oh, so it was like a legit stadium.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
So it's like at least 10,000 people there,
probably. Yeah. It was pretty big, pretty popular.
That's crazy. I didn't know it was in Shenzhen.
Yeah, and I was there because I took a kind of like a security job for the cheerleader girls because they needed one. Sure. And I was like, okay, I'll do it, and I can watch the fight. Why not? But actually, I couldn't watch the fight because
you had to watch the cheerleaders.
I have to because they're behind me, and the octagon is right here, literally right here.
Sucks, yeah. So you were watching.
So I have to be this way.
Yeah.
So when I have to watch the screen right here, so I couldn't really watch the fight, but it was right next to me. Yeah. So I feel the vibe like, what?
Yeah. Exactly. I'm sure the vibe itself must have been amazing, probably, right? Knowing that that's the first time in China, I think, right?
Oh, no. I think I'm not sure if it's the first time, but I know there is another one in Shanghai, which is in 2017.
Right. Sorry, let me rephrase that. What I meant was the first time in China with a Chinese fighter, right? Like this would be like if Conor fought in Dublin. This would be the equivalent of that.
Actually, she's not the first Chinese fighter, but she's the first one that won the championship.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, she's the most badass right now.
Yeah.
I think I don't know how she is perceived in China. I'm not too much in touch with that, but I really hope she becomes much more of a role model here.
I think she is already. Yeah. Because of her, I think
a lot of young Chinese girls.
Yeah. Comeback sports are getting more and more popular.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I'm just guessing. Maybe that's the reason why UFC wants to.
Oh, I'm sure.
I'm pretty sure probably they already have planned. But this whole Zhang Weili won the championship. Yeah. Pretty much give a very good kick.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. And you know what? I think the UFC is a really interesting thing because one, I think combat sports kind of translates into martial arts, right? Which obviously has a long history in China culturally. So I feel like it's something the government will absolutely throw their weight behind, right? If they have their own champions. And I think China has a much better shot at being somebody like Zhang Weili in combat sports than they do in like NBA or European football. Like they have a much better shot at that. So I think it makes sense for the UFC, absolutely.
Yeah, because I mean, we have a pretty strong martial art background as well. Yeah, I think Zhang Weili starts with Sanda, I believe.
Okay, what's that?
Yeah, it's kickboxing. Yeah, it's a different style of kickboxing.
Sanda? What is in Chinese?
Sanda.
Sanda. Okay.
Yeah, like 散步的散, Sanda.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know nothing about this.
No problem.
Really
you can probably go try one
I'm
day.
learning. I would be very interested. Like I said, BJJ is probably the one I'd be the most interested in for now.
Why is that?
So I think you practice, right?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah, and obviously you teach here and stuff. I don't
teach
know.
Kids.
You teach kids.
Yeah,
right,
I don't
right,
teach adults.
Sure,
yeah,
sure.
yeah.
Still teaching. I don't know. I've heard a lot. I think for men, especially as we get older, it's a good way. It's a good release method. It's a good bonding method because one of the things I've realized that as I've gotten older is it's more and more difficult to kind of create organic friendships with men that last.
I think for women too.
Yeah,
I think so.
I guess that makes sense, right?
Yeah, because I think you kind of have this idea of you don't want to. Not waste your time, but you don't want to spend time with people that you don't want to. Right. You can feel it as you grow older. I think you can feel what kind of people you want to be with. Yeah. So jiu-jitsu, it's definitely a good way to bond because I think for people who like BJJ already, they're open-minded.
Yeah.
Because it's a lot of body contact.
Sure. Yeah.
You have to sit on people's faces.
Yeah.
Really, that's a lot of body contact.
Yeah.
So you have to be very open-minded to try this new sport.
Right.
And you have to get into a very uncomfortable situation.
Yeah, a lot of intimacy.
Yeah, a lot of intimacy. So it's kind of like a lot of situation for me. It's like instantly you become friends.
Sure.
Because you have to hug each other. You have to choke. You have
to hurt each other a little bit. Yeah,
by accident.
Yeah, yes. by accident. For
yes,
sure, yeah.
yes. So I would say if you like jiu-jitsu, I think from my experience, I feel people who like jiu-jitsu, first of all, they are already classified as people who are open-minded already.
Sure.
Because I know a lot of people, I don't want to try because my boyfriend said I cannot get too intimate with other people, especially guys.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
I get girls said that. And then,
weird.
or some people say, I don't like people sweat on me.
Right.
Yeah.
That is more understandable.
Yeah. So when you accept that, like people sweat and then like face to face, people sit on your face and it's just, Yeah,
I'm sure that's a big part of it. I think the other part of it for me, at least from what I've heard, once again, I've never tried.
It's fine. It's fine.
Matt's been telling me to. The other part of it, I think it's more interesting for me is I think especially coming from a man's point of view, it's like it's struggle against like wet cement, right? Because you're in all these holes, you're in all these chokes, you're in all these like. You know, and it's such like a structured growth level where if somebody's a higher belt than you, you're gonna get choked.
Yeah, you just have to.
Yeah, and then
survive.
you learn, hopefully, right? You learn how to get out of this triangle or whatever. And
Yeah.
I think that is very valuable for men as they age because I think a lot of men, once they start hitting their 30s, 40s, 50s, their ego just like goes to another level, right? And I want to make sure that mine stays where
then that's great mindset already because
Thank you.
Because jiu-jitsu is all about being calm and then a lot of times we are in a bad position. You have to think about how you're going to get out,
right? And
then you need to tap to protect yourself with no ego,
right? Exactly,
right? A lot of people like with I hurt someone, I feel great, like it's unnecessary. For jiu-jitsu, it's all about respecting your training partners, and then it's definitely a sport you require a lot of patience. It's not gonna be you cannot you cannot be a black belt in 2 years. It
Right.
takes
It
at
takes
least
time.
8 to 10 years.
Right.
And then it's just like puzzle. At the beginning, you're like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing. And then I feel like I'm dragging people.
Yeah, that's the description that I've heard too. It's like a puzzle.
Yeah, so slowly you're going to put it together. I would say, I mean, everybody's different. But maybe after average, maybe 3 months, you started to get a sense. If you started to train, let's say, 2-3 times a week.
Yeah.
Then you will know the position, how to put the pressure, and a little bit of techniques, and then put the puzzles together.
Right.
And it's then you start to enjoy the fun part.
Sure.
At the beginning, you're just like, oh, I don't know. I use so much power. And then sometimes I hurt people without knowing. But later on, it's just a lot of strategy.
Yeah, you're also more in control of your own body and your own movement.
You need to be
more
like
aware
that.
of
yes,
that.
Yes,
but that's like everything,
a lot of
right?
coordination as well.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm open to it. It's one of my goals for my 30s. So I'm not yet. I
good.
think now is maybe not the best time.
How old are you?
I just turned 30.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I just turned 30. So I have a bunch of goals I want to achieve in my 30s. This is probably one of them. Yeah.
Oh, good. What are the others? If you don't mind asking?
There's a lot of shit. It's not very interesting. But when I turned 30, I found it very interesting because when you turn 30, I guess it depends on the type of person you are. But for me, it's 30 is the first time you get to look back at the last decade and actually remember everything. Because when you're 20, you can't really, like, your brain is not mature enough, or at least I wasn't, right, to be able to look back to when you were 10 and kind of analytically assess, well, how did I grow from 10 to 11, right? What were the mistakes I made at 12? You can't do that at 20, and you definitely can't do that at 10. So for me, it was very interesting because 30 was the first time where I could, like, seriously look back 10 years and remember exactly where I was.
Right.
And then also every year subsequent.
I think, I agree. But there's something you mentioned before we started the podcast. I think it's very interesting. Like you mentioned, like Asians start with a culture that doesn't share so much, doesn't talk so much. So I just thought of something like, I went to the States when I was 22, right? I started to get in touch with comeback sports and started to have this community. I started to really be more open-minded. I would say before I'm more like typical Asian.
Right.
I have stereotypes about certain things.
Sure.
So I don't share so much. Maybe I'm more conservative. So to be honest, I don't really remember what I did before 22, because as Asian, you are told what to do. So you're kind of robotic. Yeah. You're kind of robotic and you're not thinking.
Yeah. No, I understand.
And when I moved to the States, I'm on my own. And then when I was in class, I remember the first thing, the professor asked so many questions. And my first instinct is, oh, please don't call my name. Because like when I grew up in Asia, it's like all about filling the blanks. You don't have to think. You don't have to write so much report. It's because everything is just like, oh, a whole sentence and there's a blank. Fill in the blank. You just have to memorize it. So I don't remember so much what I did before I go to the States, to be honest. And after that, I started to think more. I think that's a very interesting turning point.
Yeah, I mean, it almost sounded like you became another person in many ways. Right?
Yeah.
And then, maybe since you've come back to Shanghai, you've then become another person as well. Right? But I think that's normal. I think that's a good thing. And I think it's even better that you can now reflect back and recognize it.
Yeah.
Because then I think maybe the next step is to recognize it as it's happening. It's like, oh shit, this is happening right now again.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what it's like with the UFC right now.
Yeah, because actually, when I first moved to Shanghai, I just do what every Asian would do. I took a very safe job, like a big company, project manager, and then they sent me to Shanghai with a pretty stable salary. So I decided
it's comfortable.
Comfortable, yes. But I was doing martial arts already, so I constantly feel kind of bored at that time. But I still don't know like how to say no to like, oh no, I don't want to do this. I want to pursue something completely different, but I'm scared to do that.
Right.
Yeah. But then after a couple years, I would say the turning point was when I started to train JiuJitsu. I wouldn't say it's definitely correlated, but
I'm sure it had an effect on it.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
So I started to Salo asked me if I want to start my own business, right?
Right.
I was taking different jobs, but safe, comfortable.
Right.
I can earn some money for a living and do my side project. I was told I need to have a main job,
right?
And then I can support my side business. But I'm not happy in my full-time job, right?
This is very interesting.
Yeah. So
'cause I'm very different. It's okay.
Yeah. So, and then my mom was actually flipped out when I decided to like, oh, I wanted to open a fitness cafe,
right?
Which it doesn't exist anymore because I tried, it failed. But now I'm like, so what? I will start over.
Listen, that happens. Trust me.
Yeah. So before that, and then I never done anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, agents always save for the rainy days. You don't do anything like too much risk.
Right.
I did something, let me think, end of 2018. No, 2018, yes.
Mm-hmm.
The beginning of 2019, I quit the job.
Mm-hmm.
And then I invest.
So this is
small,
recent.
Small investment in a cafe, a fitness cafe right in front of Bushido.
Yeah.
I have some dreams about it. I wanted to turn into not just a cafe, and I want
acai bar.
Become a lifestyle cafe.
Right.
We have our photos there, jiu-jitsu photos, surfing photos.
Right.
Even our sign was a surfing board. We're trying to make people feel comfortable, and but then COVID hit.
Sure.
So reality kicks in.
Sure.
Everything was different than what I was trying to like plan how it's supposed to be. So it's okay. Now it's gone, but then at least now I look back, I try, you know, and it feels good.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, it feels good. And even though now I'm kind of broke because I invested in that cafe and didn't give me any how do you call that?
Returns.
Right. But then I'm like, okay, I try, I learn a lot, and then I think that was worth of trying, you know?
I'm sure it absolutely was worth trying. You know, if you don't mind, I would really love to kind of ask, you don't have to give me the exact number, but like roughly how, because this is part of what I'm trying to say is, how old were you roughly when you did this? Early 30s?
Now I'm 33.
Okay.
So
early 30s.
When I just turned 32, I decided to do this. So
this is, I think, is really fucking important. And I'm sure if you could go back, there were things you would do different, right? And then, you know, maybe not do it when COVID happens. I'm kidding. You know,
who would have known?
Yeah.
Literally,
if only you could have planned for COVID, I'm sure we would all be rich by now. Yeah. We just shorted everything. But I think it's really important to kind of note that, because the older I get, I feel like the more excuses people have to not do that. And here, you know, we talked about why I do this podcast before we started. And here, this is so important. Like, you were in your 30s when you took this big of a risk, and very soon after, like a year after or something like that, you can now sit down and kind of say, you know what? Like, you can look back in a healthy way, right? You can kind of say, you know what? I learned. It's done. Yeah. I'm moving on. Yeah. And I'm going to apply what I learned. And if I ever want to open up cafe again, I'm going to do it not before a pandemic. Right? That's the goal. Do not open a cafe before a fucking pandemic. Yeah. And I think that's really healthy, and that's really important, because A, most people don't even take that shot. And B, most people who take that shot and fail can't healthily look back at it. And I think that's really important. That's not something a lot of women do.
Trust me, I had so much struggle.
Oh, I'm sure.
Like, I want to get away from this. Feels like a big failure. Yeah. But then now I finally has a closure. And then now I look back, okay, it wasn't great, but I learned something. And I spend my almost all my savings, but I'm still here, healthy, and I can start over again. You know?
Yeah, of course, definitely. Do you mind me kind of sharing with you what I learned while doing something similar? Is once you go through at least for me, once I went through about 4 or 5 of those, I learned instead to kind of just enjoy the process more rather than focusing on a result. And that's kind of where we are right now. Like my first failure was massive also, but I was 22, 23, right? And then I did it 4 or 5 more times. I'm a slow learner.
I was more bold. I was bolder.
I don't know,
Can I say that in English?
Stupid.
Yeah.
Stupid story.
I wish I made a lot more mistakes at that time.
No, I made...
sometimes I feel like, am I kind of running out of time? I just started jiu-jitsu. Yeah, I'm a blue belt, but I'm almost like 33. And I still want to compete, I still want to compete.
Right.
So I'm like, I wish I started this earlier. But then my coach, Salo, will be like, well, but if you started earlier, we would never met. I would never be your coach.
Yeah, you don't control these things, man.
Yeah, everything happens for a reason.
For sure. Yes. And I think the biggest thing that I've learned is now I'm at a point where I try to just enjoy the product rather than, or like enjoy the shitty days, enjoy this podcast has been a lot of fun.
Right.
We haven't recorded for about a week and a half, and I kind of missed it, to be honest with you. And I'm really looking forward to tonight. So thank you so much for doing this.
Oh, no problem.
So you're a blue belt right now? Or,
yes.
Yeah. What's the next one after?
Purple. So white, blue, purple, brown, black.
Okay. And I think each belt has its own tier as well, no?
Yeah, there's the stripes. For example, right. One stripe is roughly about 3 to 4 months. Just average. But like every coach, for example, Sal was my coach. Yeah. He will observe every student's progress. It doesn't have to be. You don't have to be 2 years to be blue belt.
Right. It's up to the coach's discretion.
Yeah.
Yes,
I've heard up to him. Yeah, he will notice maybe you learn way faster than other people.
Right, yeah.
Maybe you reach to blue belt way faster than other people. So it's really up to him. And he's the kind of coach who's like pay attention to each student, and it's amazing because I went to all of his PTs, private sessions, private classes, right? He always remember where he left off. With Stephen, with Eva, with which other 10 students. Like, he knows which angle he was trying to show you. And he will remember how he want to start it again in this class.
So it's very much like a Shifu relationship.
Yeah. Right? And that kind of amazed me because right now I'm teaching, right? So every class, it's like we have a curriculum, but every class we have to be connected because we care about students' progression. We are not like, today I want to teach something I saw on YouTube that is so cool. So it has to be a progression. And right now, because I started to teach, so I'm like, wow, that is so hard. How does he do what he does? He remembers every class. Sure. And I never seen him he prepares for sure.
Of course.
But each classes, he always remember, for example, you started this position at this from this ankle. You started this position from number 3, and he started this position from number 2. It's amazing. Like, I was like, I thought he started with this, and no. He started with this because he feel last time he was this and that. I was like, whoa, you remember?
Right. And how long has he been doing this for?
I think over 10 years. Over 10 years. So he started judo when he was 5, and then he turned black belt in judo when he was 16 or 18. I'm not so sure. And then he started jiu-jitsu. And then, 2018, he got his black belt.
Are you into any other forms of martial arts as well? Or is it
yes. So I started martial arts, Sanda, actually, a kind of kickboxing. Actually, kickboxing in general, because I follow different coaches. Let's just say kickboxing. I started kickboxing in 2011. This story is kind of funny because I kind of dating a guy at that time. And, you always try to please someone to get into the same interests, same hobby. So
I don't date that much.
So I was like, actually, I would love to go to a a striking gym, whatever that is with you. Okay.
Yeah.
At the beginning, I thought it's a comeback